So welcome all of you on this channel named Gaurav Kumar Jain, and thank you very much to everyone who is sharing the link of the videos in their respective groups so as to make them reach to the maximum students possible. So we are here today to develop this real-time voting app that I posted, the working of which I posted a couple of months back on my channel. Okay, so today we are going to see how can we create a real-time voting app using the basic features of Applab on this code.org platform. So this is the first screen user is going to come across. Now there are a couple of components I've defined on this screen 3. There are 3 input boxes which I have defined on this beautiful image button over here. The idea of this first image component is username, then it is email, the ID of this second input box, and the ID of this third input box is password, and then there is a button with ID login. Besides that, we have a label box defined right on the top of this image over here, the ID of which is admin. So the first thing that I would like to do is I would like to define the code for this admin named label box. So I'm going to place this on even block over here, and let's replace this ID with the ID of this label box. Now when the user, if the user is an admin person and he want to visit the admin panel, he just have to hit this button, and I would like him to get redirected on this beautiful admin screen, which is screen 1. So for doing that, we guys can make use of this set screen block, and let's place it over here. Fine, and let's make it more interactive by adding a sound to this uneven block. So I'm going to make use of this place speech block. Let's place it over here, and I am replacing everything with this thing. Hi admin, you can use the admin. Hi admin, welcome to the admin dashboard. Okay, and let's replace this by user. So this is what the admin is going to hear. Fine, once he is done with hitting this admin button, which is there on this screen 4, not screen 4, I think it was on screen 3. Yeah, okay. So so I'm done with defining the required code for this label box over here in this workspace. Now let's define the code for this sign up button, or the ID of which is login. So I'm going to make use of this uneven block. Let's place it over here. The ID of this button is login. L is in capital. Let's write down login here. And when the user, after writing down his username, his email address, and the password over here in these 3 components, when he'll hit this login button, I would like a table with ID users to get created on the data browser connected to this app. So that's how we can do it, right? In which all these 3 information should get saved. So the first thing I would like to save is the username entered by the user. Then the second thing I would like to save is the email ID the user is going to enter, and the third thing I would like to save is the password the user is going to enter over here for creating his profile. Now from where can we get the input for this user named named field? So we can get it easily from this input box, the ID of which is username. I'm placing it over here. Let's copy this whole thing and use it for getting the value for this email named field. So the ID of this component is email, from which I would like to pull the information for this email named field, and similarly the password we can get from this password name component. Fine, and once the user is done with creating his profile, I would like him to get redirected on this screen 2, where he is going to come across these beautiful components. Now let's first define the code with which we can redirect the user to this screen 2. This is the one, and let's make it somewhat interactive by adding display speech block to this on event block. Here, this is what the user is going to hear. Hi user, your dashboard is ready. So this is what he's going to hear when he'll come on this screen. Besides that, whatever ID and what we call it, whatever ID and password he has entered for creating his profile, I would like that to be visible to the user right on the top in these two components. So for doing that, we can make use of this read records block. I am placing it over here. Do we have any other screen? I don't think so. Yeah, so let's come back on this screen too. Fine, so the user, he'll hit this login button, a user's named table is going to get created on the data browser. Now let's pull the information for these two components from this user's named table. Or else what we can do, let's not make use of this read records block. Let's do it with the help of set get property. So where is that set text? This is the one. I'm going to place it over here. And now the ID of this component is username. So from where can we get the input for this user named component? We can get it easily from this user named component which is there on this screen 3, right? So that's how you can make use of this set get property. Let's copy this whole thing and place it over here. Now the ID of this second component is email, and let's replace it with email. So we can get the input for this component from this email named component which is there present on this first screen. Fine, I'm done with defining the required code. So I would like this to happen first before the user will go on this screen too. That's how I can do it, just by defining these two lines of code before this line of code which is actually redirecting the user on screen 2. So we are done with defining the required code for all the components which are there on this screen 3. Let's now move to this screen 2 where there are different components visible to us. Now how I have designed this screen, that's what I would like to tell you first. So these are two input boxes which are visible to you right on the top, and then there are 4 image buttons. Okay, how can you get these images? So what you have to do, you need to come on Google and you guys can type something like, just give me a short moment, trying to access google.com, and here you guys can type something like Indian political parties logos. If you'll type something like this and come on this images section, these are some of the beautiful images you're going to come across. Now you can make use of this beautiful image. What do you have to do? Copy this image and paste it into this paint software. Okay, by pressing Ctrl and V together, you guys can do it, and then you guys can make use of this selection tool. Let's select this apps icon. So this is how you can select it. Now just cut it down and come and open a new software of paint, paste it over here, then eliminate this white background by reducing the size of this window like this. Okay, you can save this image with a unique name on your desktop, and after that you can import it on this Applab. So that's how you have to repeat the same steps for all these 3 images also, and after that you can import them one by one like this on 4 different image buttons. Fine, now there is these 4 image buttons also on which you're seeing this thumbs up kind of thing. Okay, so these thumbs up you can get from the icons library. You just have to place the image buttons over here like this. Just reduce the size of this image button, and then you can come on this choose option and select the relevant icons from this icons library available to us on this Applab. Where is that thumbs up? So it's very easy. The only thing that you have to make sure is the design should be clear to you. Okay, you can take a pen or paper you can take a pen or paper, just draw the screens on those papers with the help of that pen you have, and after that you can design the screens the way you want, the way you have planned. So now it's in black color, right? So if you want to change the colors, you guys can make use of this icon color option. Let's change it to red. So that's how you can get a red color in the background, as a fore color, or you can say as a stroke color, right? Fine. So everything is good to go. Let's eliminate this thing from here. Again, besides these image buttons, I have these radio buttons. Now the ID of this first radio button is BJP, then the ID of this radio button is Congress, the ID of this radio button is BSP, and the ID of this radio button is CPI. And remember this thing, they all belong to the same group. So this BJP also belong to this radio underscore group 1. This one also belong to this radio underscore group 1. These two also belong to this radio underscore group 1. Fine. So the group ID of all these radio buttons are same. Why? Just because I want the user to select one radio button at one time. I don't want him to I don't want him to provide the rights of selecting more than one radio buttons in one go. So that is the reason the group ID needs to be same if you want to do something like this. Okay, let's come back on this coding section and define the code for these radio buttons over here. So what we need to do, just a second. Okay, so okay, now once the user is done with coming on this screen too, I would like him to select one of these parties. Fine, he is required to vote for one of these parties. And how he can vote? He just have to hit the radio buttons which are present just below these images over here. And once he is done with hitting any of these radio buttons, he should get redirected on this screen 4. Fine, and besides that, I would like a table to get created where his votes should get stored. Fine. So for doing that, what we can do, we guys can make use of this on even block. I'm going to place it over here. Now the ID of this first radio button is BJP. Let's replace it with BJP. Now if the user will hit this BJP named radio button for voting for this party, Bharatiya Janata Party. So the first thing that I would like should happen is a table should get created on the data browser with ID vote. Okay, and then I would like that in that table the email ID of that person should be saved. So the email ID I can get it easily from this component get text. We can make use of the ID of this component is email is in small. Fine, and besides that, if so if he hit this radio button with ID BJP, I would like one more column to get created inside this votes named table, in which this value should get saved automatically, BJP. So it means that the person with this email ID has voted for BJP. That's what it means, right? Besides, let's make it more interactive by adding a speech to this on even block. Thanks for voting. Okay, so this is what the user is going to hear from the background, and let's replace it with male. So it's a male version which he is going to hear of this speech. Okay, and besides that, I would like the user to get redirected on this screen 4. Okay, so with the help of this code we can easily do it. Right, now I'm going to define the same code for these three radio buttons also. Let's copy this whole thing and put it over here. The idea of this second radio button is Congress. Let's replace it with Congress, and here the value we need to replace it with Congress. Congress is in capital. Okay, rest everything is going to remain the same. This one I am going to make use of for this BSP named radio button. BSP. Okay, fine. Let's copy this whole thing and place it over here. And this one is going to be for CPI. Okay, fine. So we are done with defining the required code for all these 4 radio buttons over here. And finally, after voting for one of these parties, the user is going to come on this beautiful animated screen, which is screen 4. Now, how I have designed this screen, that's what I would like to tell you first. So I made use of 2 different image components. This is the first one, okay, on which you are able to see this vote bank kind of thing. All right, and then there is this image button. Fine, and there is one more image button, sorry, in which you are able to see this hand kind of thing. Right, so there are 4. Okay, there are only 2 image buttons, sorry. Now how you can get these kind of images on Google Images, that's what I would like to help you with. So here you can type I voted GIF animated. This, if you will type over here in this search bar of Google, so these are a couple of beautiful images you're going to come across. Now this is also one of the beautiful images you can make use of. Okay, then this is also quite beautiful image that you can make use of for making your app look more appealing. So this is the one which I have used. Okay, besides that, how can you get this hand and this vote bank over here? So for doing that, you just have to type voting hand in box GIF animated clipart. Let's see whether we'll be able to get something good with these things. Yes, this is the image which you guys can make use of. Right, then there are a couple of more images which you can easily find with the help of these keywords that I have written over here in this search box. Right, this is also a very beautiful image that you can make use of. See, right? Okay, let's go on that code.org environment and define the required code for these components. So I'm going to come on this coding panel. You know, I don't want the user to see this check result before the result is announced by the admin person. So I am defining an hide element block for hiding this element temporary. The idea of this button is check result. Let's come on this designing panel and copy this check result from here. Let's come back on this coding panel. I'm going to paste this over here. So now this check result button will not be visible to the user. Okay, let's now go on that admins panel. See, once the user is done with what we call voting for one of these parties, I would like in real time the admin to see the votes, or you can say the vote, to see the votes these parties have received. Okay, so how can we do that? How can we make that admin see the number of votes these parties have received in real time? For doing that, we guys can make use of this on records event. See, the result is the votes are getting saved in this votes named table, right? So if this create type of event will take place in this votes name table, so this is what I would like to happen. Now whatever I'm going to define over here inside this if loop, this is what is going to happen whenever this event type of create, okay, this create type of event is going to take place in this votes named table. So let's make use of four counter variables first, so as to count the number of votes for these four parties. Where is a keyword that we can make use of for declaring any variable on this platform. So var a is going to be the first variable. Then let's copy this whole thing and place it over here thrice. So b is the second variable. I'm going to make use of counting the number of votes Congress will receive. Then c is the variable I'm going to make use of for counting the number of votes this BSP will receive. And then d is the variable I'm going to make use of for counting the number of votes this fourth party CPI is going to receive. Okay, now every time this on record event is going to happen, I would like these things to go 0 first. Okay, I don't want them to change their value. I would like them to first become 0 every time this thing is going to get called up. Okay, then let's make use of this read records block, which you can easily find in this data part of the toolbox, and I'm going to place it over here. So the votes are going to come in this votes name table. I am replacing this my table with the name of the table in which the votes are going to get saved. So this for loop is going to traverse through all the records which are going to get saved in this, which are going to get created in this votes named table. Now if records I dot what is the name of the column in which the votes are getting saved, so it is vote 2, right? The name of the column is vote 2. So if this vote 2 is equal to BJP, then I would like the value of A to get incremented by 1. So every time this records.I.vote2's value will be 0, will be BJP, then this value of A is going to get incremented by A for all those records which are there going to get created in this votes name table. Similarly, we can do the same thing for counting the number of votes for this second party, which is BSP, or I think Congress is the second party, yeah, sorry. So we are going to have Congress over here. Now I would like the value of B to get incremented by 1. Okay, let's now copy this whole thing and place it over here. So now if it is BSP, then the value of C should get incremented by 1. C is in small. Okay, and then let's copy this whole thing and place it over here. And if it is CPI, if the value for all those rows for which the values in this vote to named column is equal to CPI, so for all those rows I would like the value of C to get incremented by 1. Fine, so that's how you can value of D to get incremented by 1, sorry, because D is a variable which we have declared for counting the number of votes this fourth party is going to receive. Right, so we are done with defining the required code for counting the number of votes for all these four parties. Now how can we get them reflected in real time over here in these label boxes? That's what I would like to help you guys with. Okay, so just after this point where this for loop is ending, fine, this is where the for loop is ending, right? Just after this point I would like to set the text for all these four label boxes which is seeing getting reflected on this screen 1. So the idea of this first label box is label 2. I'm going to come on this design section. Let's copy this whole thing and paste it over here inside this in between these two curly brackets. From where can we get the input for this label box? So I would like to see something like this to get reflected. Votes is equal to, then number of votes are going to come in this variable A. So let's place A over here. Fine. Now I'm copying this whole thing and placing it thrice over here. The idea of this label box is label 3. Let's replace it with label 3. And here I would like to change it to B, because B is the name of the variable in which the votes of this second party are going to get saved. Then this is label 4, then this one is label 5. So now in real time we will be able to see the number of votes these parties are going to receive from different users. Okay, now let's do one thing. Let's define the code for this show result button. See, once the voting is finished, I would like the admin to hit this show result button, and as soon as he'll hit this show result button, what should happen? That's what we have to now define the code for. So let's first define the code for this. Let's make use of this on event block first. Now the idea of this button is show result. This is what I'm going to replace the ID with. Okay, now as soon as this admin will hit this result named button, I would like this button which is there on this screen on which the user is going to come on after voting for a particular party to be visible to him. Now how can I do that? So I would like to, because this panel the user is going to access on some other device, and the admin panel is going to be accessed by the admin on some other device. So it's we guys will be needing that on record event block and create record event block also. Just give me a short moment, trying to fix the issue with my mouse. Yeah, now it is fine. So the first thing I would like to do is, let's create a record on this data browser connected to this app. So this is the table which is going to get created. Fine. Now what else can we do? Besides that, let's do one thing. I would like to save the names of the parties along with their respective votes in this table named result. So from where can we get this information? The name of the party, and the votes the party has received. So this is what I would like to save in this result named table. From where can we get the information of these two things? That's what I am looking for now. Okay, this is fine, this one is good, great. Parties and votes, from where can I get the information? Just a second, let me just check it out. So see, all the information is there in this votes named table, right? The email ID is there, and the votes and the name of the party is present in this vote to named column, right? Let's think about this thing. From where can we get the information for these two things? Party, okay, then votes is also there. So vote to BJP, A is equals to A plus 1. Fine, this is what is going to get executed in real time, and this admin will be able to see the number of votes each party has received getting reflected in these label boxes. Fine, now as soon as he will hit this show result button, I would like a table with ID result to get created on the data browser connected to the app, in which these two information should get saved. Okay. What can we do over here? That's what I'm thinking about. Fine, so party, then votes should come over here. From where can we get the information? So the number of votes are over here in A, B, C, D. Fine, and the names of the parties are here. Great. Okay. Can we do it like this? Can we just create the records over here inside this if loop with the name result? So then the party's name is going to be BJP, and the number of votes we can get it easily from this variable named A, right? Can we do it like this? Let's check it out. So I'm going to copy this whole code and place it over here also. Fine, and let's replace it with Congress. Here I'm going to write down B. Fine, and what it is, if suppose there are two people who have voted for this Congress party, then what is going to happen? We will get duplicate values, right? We can do it like this. We can do it like this. We need to find out some other way out with which we can get the required information for these two fields over here. Party. Okay, I think we can do it like this. BJP, and then votes are going to get saved. Votes are going to come for this BJP named party in this variable named A. Right? Yeah, we can do it like this. Yes. Again, for this Congress, the second party, the votes are going to come in this variable named B. Right? And then for this fourth party, the votes are going to come in this BSP named C named variable. Then the votes are going to come for this third party named CPI in this variable named D. D is in small, right? Okay, so we are done with defining the required code for getting a table named result created on the data browser. Now once this table will be there on the data browser, I would like this user, I would like every user who have voted for one or the other parties, this button should be visible to those users. So how can we do that? We can do this with the help of on record event. I'm going to place it over here. Now the ID of this table is result, and the event which is taking place in this result name table is create. So we need not to make any changes over here in this line of code. Let's eliminate everything whatever we have inside this if loop. Okay, so now if this event named create will take place in this result named table, then I would like all the users, I would like this button should be visible to all the users who have used this app for voting to one or the other party. Fine, so this is how we can do it. Okay, and besides I would like them to hear some speech also from the background. So let's make use of this play speech block. I'm placing it over here, and you may check the result. Now this is what the user is going to hear in the background. Okay, let's now define the code for this button. This is the only thing which we are left now with. I'm going to have an on event block again. When the user after voting, when the user after getting this notification on his respective panel will hit this button, the ID of which is check result, the first thing I would like should happen is I would like him to get redirected on this beautiful screen 4, sorry, not screen 4, screen 5, where he'll get to see a chart component, and I would like him to see the result in the form of a graph over here on this chart component. So for doing that, what we can do, we guys can make use of this draw chart from records element. I am placing it over here. Let's make the required changes. Now from where can we get the result? We can get the result from this result named table. Now I would like to see the result in the form of a bar chart, so I need not to make any changes over here. And then okay, just a second, I need to write down the name of the table over here, right? And here I need to replace this ID with the ID of this chart component. So the ID of this chart component is result chart. Let's copy it from this ID component of the design panel and replace this chart ID with the actual ID of this chart component. Okay, now what are the two fields which are going to get created in this result named table? So one is this with name party, and the second one is this with name votes. So this is going to be the first one, then votes is going to be the second one. Okay, I think we will be able to get the required output now. Let's check it out. So I am going to make use of this link, and let's run this app now on 4 different browsers. So I'm going to run it on 4 different browsers. Again, it is a real-time multi-device application, and it is you can run it on iOS mobile also, and you can run it on any desktop or any mobile phone. It is not going to show any kind of compatibility issues because JavaScript is a language which we have made use of for making this a real-time multi-device mobile come desktop application, right? You have to assume as if this one is the first device, and this one is the second device, this one is the third device. Okay, and then let's open okay, so I am done with entering the link in the URL part of these 4 browsers. It is going to take a little bit of time. Why? Because we have made use of GIF animated images on most of the screens. So that is the reason. It's going to take a little bit of time. Okay, so this is a screen the user is going to come across when he will access the app on his respective device. Right, I am going to hit this image button over here, and it is going to redirect me on the admin panel. As you guys are very
Hi
well
user.
aware about this thing,
Welcome
that's
to
how
the
we have
admin
coded this app.
dashboard.
Okay, and here I am going to write down my name and jan@gmail.com. Then jan123 is the password I'm entering. Let's hit this sign up button. Okay, so the my name and my ID both are getting reflected right on the top of this panel. Here I am going to enter the ID of some other person. Let's make use of Anubhav, anu@gmail.com, anu123. Let's hit the sign up button. Okay, and here I'm going to enter the ID of, sorry, I think the browser got closed by mistake. And do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and also do share the link of this video in your groups so that it can reach to the maximum students and they can also come and enjoy these free online coding classes I am providing to you guys on my channel. Okay, so it is Vikrant that I'm going to type over here. Vikrant wiki@gmail.com, wiki123. Okay, so now there are 3 user profiles present on this app, and there is this admin panel. And as you can see, okay, let me just check whether we have any table on this data browser or not. Yes, we have a table right now on this data browser, and in this we are able to see the IDs and the names of all the people who have created their profiles on this platform. Right, so number of votes right now for each of these parties is equal to 0. Let's now vote for this Bharatiya Janata Party from this Gaurav's panel. So I just need to hit this radio button over here.
Thanks for voting.
Okay, let's see whether, okay, in real time, the number of votes over here has changed. As you can see, now the number of votes for this BJP party is 1. And for all these parties, it is still equal to 0. Let's come on this Anubhav's panel and vote for Congress party.
Thanks for voting.
Okay, so now the number of votes over here has changed from 0 to 1, as you can see. Right, so everything is working perfectly fine. Let's now vote for this Bharatiya Janata Party again.
Thanks for voting.
Okay, done with voting for Bharatiya Janata Party. Let's see whether we'll be able to get the required changes. Yes, now the number of votes have changed from 1 to 2. So it's happening in real time. Okay, fine. Now, as you can see, that button is not visible to us on any of these 3 users panel. Why? Just because we defined that hide user element for this button. My mouse is troubling me a little bit. Why is it not working fine? I think you guys have to wait for some time. Just give me a short moment. Trying to fix this issue I'm facing with my mouse. It's hanging a lot. I don't know why is it so. Yeah, now it is. I think now I'll be able to manage. Okay, so let's hit the show result button, which is getting reflected on this admins panel for broadcasting the result. And let's see whether that button will be visible to us over here on these users panel or not, the one with which these users can check out the result. Yes.
You may check the result now.
Okay, so now
You may check the result now.
check the result.
You may check the result now.
What is
You may check the result now.
Okay.
You may check the result now.
So I'm going to hit this check result button, which is visible to us over here on this first users panel. My laptop is hanging a lot. Kindly bear with me. Okay, so as you can see, the result is visible to us in the form of a graph over here. Let's see whether it will be visible to us over here on these two panels or not. Done with hitting this check result button. Here also I'm going to hit this check result button. The result will be visible to us very soon. Okay, so the app is working perfectly fine. So Congress received vote, number of vote that Congress received is 1. Number of vote which BJP has received are 2, then CPI and BSP haven't received any votes, so that is the reason we are not able to see any bar over here for these two parties. Okay, so that's how you can make a real-time voting application using the basic features of Applab. In case you have any issue, you guys are most welcome to ask me the same. I'm done with my part. And if you really liked and enjoyed this lecture, do share this video in your group so that more and more students can come and join this coding channel of mine and learn to code real-time applications for free on this channel. Okay. Hi Dibya Jyoti Guha. Hi Karthik. Thank you very much Ume Reda for this compliment. Okay, so you guys have we have vote in Kolkata. Okay, great. Okay, I think everything is clear to you guys. And in case you come across any issue while making this app in the Applab, you guys are most welcome to reach me. You guys can reach me through the comment section. Just put your query over there. Definitely, I'm going to respond to it. I'm going to reply to your queries whenever I will get the time to do so. Thank you very much for joining me and have a great day. Bye bye.